Hey, good morning, everyone. Have a few knives to sharpen today. So these are all one customer brought these in, and we are gonna get to sharpening right away, get these done so we can call the customer, have them come pick it up. So shouldn't take too long. Using the buck tool slow speed sanders. This is a Bora 7 belt, which I just started using recently, and quite frankly, I kind of like it. So we'll see the longevity of the belt, but so far I am liking it. Hi, Cindy. Okay, that's it for the Bora 7 belt. It's basically a 120 grit. This is the Acceleron 600 grit. Refine the edge with these. Okay, so it's all done. Hey guys, appreciate it if you hit that like button. If you're interested in seeing some other sharpening stuff, of course you can always subscribe. Helps out our channel a little bit. This is a leather wheel, and this is some compound that we use. This is to remove the burr that's left from sharpening. Give a nice semi-polished edge. Then once we're done deburring all our knives, we'll do a little bit of cleanup, and then we'll do some cut test, make sure they're all as sharp as they should be. Occasionally I'll get one that's not as quite as sharp as I'd like it to be, and I'll go back and either hit it with the 600 again or the leather belt. Sometimes it's just a little burr that's caught on there, Just needs to be hand strapped a little bit. On a grinding wheel, not really. It depends on what you're talking about. There's a system like the Tormek system, which technically is a wheel, but that's specifically set up for sharpening knives. If you're talking about putting like a regular grinding wheel on a grinder, on a bench grinder like this, you're gonna have a really hard time doing that. It's gonna be pretty difficult to hold your angle, and the grinding wheels tend to be a little too aggressive on the knife edges. Okay. Well, I use an angle guide. So right here, this angle guide is what allows me when I'm doing it. It sets my angle for me. Occasionally, I'll run into a knife where the handle might, come like way out. The Victorinoxes tend to do that, where the plastic handle comes way out, so you can't get it all the way on. I'll do those flip this way, and I'll go across this way. Those I have to hold the angle by hand. It probably took me a good 6 months before I really got that angle where I could do it by hand and be accurate with it. As long as you're getting the angle the same on both sides, you can get a sharp knife. But you want to have an angle that's going to work too. If you're too thin, if you get down, it's extreme, but if you were to get down to like a 10 or 12% angle, the blade would be so thin that any kind of chopping or anything would start to chip the blade. If you get too thick, extreme, say 25% or 25 degree, then it gets, although it's sharp, it'd be too thick and you'd have trouble cutting certain things, maybe like tomatoes or, just because that angle is so steep. But if you can manage to practice and by hand get it somewhere between like 16 or 17 and maybe 18 or 19 degrees, you'd be in pretty good shape. But it does take a while to get used to holding the knife and doing it by hand like that. And I'm just making sure as I'm doing these that I'm getting any compound from the leather wheel. It tends to get right on the very edge, on the bevel of the blade. So I always want to make sure that I got all the compound off that edge of the blade. So we do our cut test to see how sharp it is. If there's compound stuck on the edge of that blade, it will grab the paper. And even if the knife is sharp, it'll make it seem like it's not. Trying to see if I have any big gobs of compound on here. I'm not seeing any. If I catch any, I'll show you. But you can see it when you get compound stuck on the bevel. These actually came out pretty clean. When the wheel starts getting a lot of compound on it, usually I clean my wheel off so I don't get an excessive amount of buildup of compound. But sometimes it gets away from me a little bit, and when I start noticing that I'm getting a lot of compound on my edges, I'll go ahead and clean my wheel. Well, it depends what you mean by razor edge. Are they sharp? Yeah, they're sharp. I'd like to call them razor edge, but it's not technically as sharp as a razor would be. Of course, you wouldn't want that because you'd be chipping your edge when you're cutting all the time. Okay. Okay, so let's see how these came out for sharpness. Grab a sheet of paper. We'll test them. There you go. That's how they shut. If they're all like that, we're going to be in good shape. Nice and smooth. I'm not sure which one I just set down there. That's okay. We'll do it again if that's the case. That one kind of caught at the end. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that one's all right. This one. Yep, these all came out really good. So the only other one I got is the cleaver. These can be the tricky ones sometimes. Look at that. That's how they should be, folks. And caught myself with an edge. Don't want to gross you out, but right there. I caught an edge. So that happens sometimes. Part of the trade. Occasionally you're gonna catch yourself a little bit. And all we got left is to put them in some sheaths, and then they'll be ready for the customer. And on these small ones, I'll show you, I tend to cut these sheaths down so I can use one sheath for a couple of knives. Mostly brought long knives. And you want to be careful when you're putting the sheaths on. I haven't done it, but I've come close to where if you miss getting it in here, you could cut yourself or poke yourself. So I always take my time when I'm doing that. Scissor Wizards, no problem. Appreciate you tuning in and watching. And here's where I'm going to cut these down. So I do is just check, see where I'm at. That way I can put them in here, and then I can use the other half for a smaller knife, like so. And then I keep the smaller ones for when I come up with another small knife, like that one's going to be an extra one. And then the other thing is with these, what I usually do is I'll take, see how long do I need that? On about the 4. So what I'll do So I'll take this. I'll cut an edge off like this. Okay. Then I can open it up this way. Put this in here. And then I just take a little bit of painter's tape. Like so. Go right over the top that way. That way the blade's protected. There you go. So now that blade's also protected. So, okay, guys. That is it for today's sharpening. That went pretty quick. A couple of small ones here. And then I keep them all, so you can see how I do this. I keep them all in a tub like that. For the customer, when they come pick them up, he brought a bag with him, so I'll put them in the bag. But I usually leave them like that until they come. And I throw them in the bag when they get here. So, I have not seen the stone rocker sharpener yet. I've heard about it. I have not looked it up. I'm going to have to check that out and see what it's all about. Oh, there's Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. I almost missed your message there. So anyway, so there you go, guys. Again, appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe. And it's been about a week since we've been on. That's because we've actually been slow. January was pretty busy, and I've slowed down, at least first part of February. I slowed down. But good thing is we're supposed to have a streak of 50-degree days here in Chicago. So usually when the weather starts warming up like that, people start coming out of their hibernation, start getting their knife sharpened. So, okay, guys, we're all set for this one. We appreciate you watching. Hope you all have a great day, and we will see you in the next one.